It was a bright, warm Monday, late in January. Port managers, system supervisors, engineers, and decision makers from most of the Caribbean's major marine ports and terminals had traveled south for the first annual Caribbean Port Management Workshop. When Mike Jarrett got proceedings underway, there were more than 70 participants representing regional, national, and private entities from all 4 language groups in the Caribbean and Latin America. They were graciously welcomed to Panama by Carlos Uriola Tam, president of SSA International, the global giant with more than 250 locations around the planet, and operators of the Manzanillo International Terminal in Cologne, host of this historic training event.
Be able to recover, because as all you know, ports are very important in every country. Not only you have to have a contingency plan, but you have to have a response plan, but more important, you have to put your ports online as soon as possible. Have a very good workshop and enjoy Panama. Muchas gracias.
They were joined by scientists, engineers, management consultants, regional multi-governmental representatives, Navy and Coast Guard representatives from the Caribbean, North America, and Europe.
Work without employees. This is one
level we can discuss it and see if you can have a deliberation there and where they can put you as port authorities.
I'm all continuously abreast of the developments on island, and of course, like I told Meno last night, keeping in their faces, making sure that they see that St. Martin remain relevant.
Resiliency, or one of the keys first at the airport or in Anguilla is how do you synergize?
For the rest of the island and the rest of what we saw with Irma and Maria.
One of us, because we care. We care about not only boats operations and moving cargo to the region, and I want to give some ideas.
A break for coffee followed the opening ceremonies, and participants separated, choosing to join of 2 concurrent sessions. Track 1 included topics on climate change, ecosystems, bathymetry, and harbor design. This track was designed and chaired by Jesper Daniso.
I'm happy to hear that you are looking into the future and invest. That's good.
As a matter of fact, in the presentation this morning, we're expecting 4 degrees Celsius within the next 8 years. Just one additional hurricane, and we're looking at almost $300 billion in damages. Right.
Meanwhile, Track 2 discussed disasters, preparedness, relief, and port and terminal rebuilding. Track 2 was designed and chaired by Jan Searhouse.
You know what is boundaries? It's the same as what we use
resource, the support that government is giving us, those are very tight.
In a warehouse that the company didn't know it. That was a lot of movement.
Oil and hazmat. Exactly.
Grounded, stranded in Puerto Rico. This is one of the NOAA Airman. It's emergency response management application.
It was a Category 5 hurricane, a sustained winds of 185 miles per hour. Gusts were recorded on St. Martin up to Hurricane Irma. This photo was also in one of the 300, 120 was lifted already. Again, this is the information that we are basically encouraging the taxi associations, tour operators.
Thank you very much, man. St. Martin is a remarkable destination.
Our brothers and sisters in the EPI, and what we understood from Hurricane President and CEO, they put a personal face on hurricane relief activities needed to their cruise line guests. That they had a strong travel agent distribution channel. And
you have to be responsive to the context, and one key variable in being.
The second day was programmed exclusively for inter-organizational discussions on the proposed Quick Response Regional Disaster Assistance and Relief Network. Track 3 therefore involved all participants in a day-long discussion that was described in a word by one participant as historic. A region-wide quick response network would respond swiftly to disasters, including hurricanes. It was placed on the workshop agenda following a planning session when Professor Fritz Pinnock, president of the Caribbean Maritime University, presented the idea. This track is historic for the fact that it placed on the regional agenda a topic that could fundamentally change the approach to deployment of disaster relief and humanitarian assistance across the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico region.
One of the things that we found out is that everybody's ready to do it, but if you won't work together and everybody's just, pulling that wagon on its own, then we don't get synergy and we don't get what we want.
But day 2 started with formalities. A pact for cooperation between 3 major Caribbean organizations was to be signed. The Port Management Association of the Caribbean, Caribbean Maritime University, and the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency formally documented a pledge to work together for the common good.
That a very important partnership started in this moment.
And so on. But one of the programs we are bringing on stream is that of disaster logistics. How do we plan in disasters and manage disruptions?
Then it was down to the serious business of discussing, in precise terms, the relationships, lines of communication, and organizational structures necessary to deal with disasters, such as that witnessed across the Greater Caribbean just 4 months earlier. In these deliberations, participants raised questions and issues related to coordination of assistance and relief efforts, related to the building of an integrated regional disaster assistance and relief network operating across the Caribbean region.
And for the case of the Caribbean, we may say probably money is not the issue here.
The rapporteurs, Dr. Ibrahim Ajaguna and Dr. Stephen Roden, presented summary reports of 2 days of deliberations on port management design and development, alongside recovery and sustainability issues and concerns.
All right. So, what we say? Hasta la vista.
Day 3 was out and about. Participants grabbed a packed breakfast at dawn. 2 buses took them to catch a train. With the kind courtesies of the 163-year-old Panama Railroad, They were transported from the shores of the Great Pacific to the shores of the Great Atlantic in style and comfort. Their mission, to visit the third set of locks at the recently expanded Panama Canal, just in time to see the passage of an LNG tanker, one of the largest ships afloat. During construction, this expansion project was considered one of the largest construction sites on Earth. The scale, logistics, and economies of port management in the Caribbean changed with the opening of these third set of locks in June 2016, just as it did when the Panama Canal opened for business in 1914. Next stop, the Manzanillo International Terminal.
When you go to the Caribbean, you see like beautiful beaches, and then you play dominoes.
When MIT was established in Cologne in 1995, the unemployment rate was very high. It was often said that local labor, largely descendants of the peoples of the Caribbean who did the heavy lifting in building the canal, could not manage a modern, efficient, world-standard marine port. MIT challenged that presumption and systematically exploded the myth. MIT not only trained its people well, it provided the resources and the opportunities for them to succeed and advance. Today, more than 90% of the workforce is from the Cologne area, and the operation provides employment and generates some economies in surrounding areas. After a sumptuous lunch courtesy of MIT, participants got a rare opportunity to get close to the latest technologies in maritime cargo handling and delivery, watching in real time highly trained and skilled operators manning state-of-the-art automated systems, placing 40-foot containers onto truck after truck after truck.
This is not the beginning of the end, this is the end of the beginning. Yes.
Next stop, the site of the Regional Logistics Center for Humanitarian Assistance.
We're going to build a platform that connects this area to the airport.
Participants donned hard hats and bibs and were taken on a tour of the massive construction site by Dr. Carlos Manuel Gomez Rudy, the center's administrator. This facility is designed to securely store massive volumes of materials and relief supplies. It is being built by the Panamanian government to facilitate the work of the international agencies delivering support and humanitarian assistance across the Caribbean and Latin America. After a long day on the road, participants headed back to base. It was a day well spent.